Headlines of the day from CMR.
All right. Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Erin. How you doing?
Good. Blake's off today, so I have
Yeah, I
yeah,
see. You're flying solo.
I am. We had a very busy corporate cup on Saturday.
Oh,
KPMG.
yes.
Yeah, KPMG won. So
Okay.
congrats to them.
Congrats.
Yeah. What's going on? What's been going
Wonderful.
on this whole weekend? Any news? I'm sure.
Yes, lots of news actually. So we had a murder over the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Friday night, a
Really?
gentleman was killed in the district of West Bay,
Oh
down
no.
in the Birch Tree Hill. I'll say that 5 times.
It's Monday.
Birch Tree Hill area of West Bay. And
Oh,
so the police were pretty busy working into the night and into Saturday morning, obviously, working the crime scene.
that's
Yeah, so
terrible.
it's a very unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
51-year-old Ian Duffel is his name.
Mm.
And yeah, so that's obviously been the talk of the town for the weekend.
Okay.
We also had a 70-year-old woman from the United States who was pronounced dead after becoming unresponsive while diving on Friday morning at the West Bay Public Beach.
Like scuba dive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
That's sad.
unfortunate situation. She probably got in a little bit of trouble
Yeah.
in the water.
Wow. That's sad.
hmm
Yeah.
Pretty sad indeed. Um, Celebrate Cayman is calling for names of unsung seafaring heroes, they say, as they work in the Seafarers Registry.
Okay.
So if you have anyone in your family who is a seafarer, by all means, contact them, celebratecayman.ky.
Cool.
They're trying to put a complete registry together.
Oh, nice.
The HSA is going to be participating in an Airports Authority emergency exercise that will take place today. So if you see any activity, don't call us to say the airport is burning down. It's a scheduled exercise.
Okay.
Full scale emergency.
We've
We
seen
always get those calls.
yeah. It's like, what's going on at the airport? Why is
I
there
know. We always
full
get them
vehicles?
like, oh my gosh, there's ambulance at the
Yeah.
airport. Something's going on.
It's like,
So
no.
this is a scheduled exercise. I'm glad when they tell us in advance though, because then it makes my job a little bit easier. I can be like, okay, calm down.
Yeah.
It's not what you think.
Yeah. No, exactly. Because I bet your phone just rings off the hook when that happens.
Yeah. In the past, it's been like, what's going on? And then to hear afterwards that, oh no, don't worry, it's an emergency exercise. The HSA has notified us in advance.
All right.
And they said that it could mean increased foot and vehicular traffic at the hospital as well. Although the majority of the exercise is actually going to take place at the airport.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good to do it also when school's out. So maybe
Yes,
traffic around either.
absolutely.
So
If you work in the food industry, and that includes, Pirates Fest has begun, you should contact the Department of Environmental Health. They're doing food hygiene training to accommodate the holiday demands. Of course, Christmas is right around the corner. A lot of people will be doing Thanksgiving traditions and other things. So please do contact them so that you can get your food handling certificate.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone needs that, and people don't know that all the time. Anytime
Yes,
you
and
do
it's a free course, so I mean it's well worth your time going out there and getting it done. Get it under your belt.
Mm-hmm.
Last week on Friday, Minister Turner was actually saying that she has the certificate herself. She's done the course because at her office, a lot of times they will have train like food available for people. So she does occasionally handle food from her constituency office. So she wanted to make sure that she also had the food handling certificate, which I think is a great idea.
I think that's great. That's leading by example. Good.
Absolutely. And in final news, the long-awaited trial of Miss Cayman begins today. Her criminal trial will be held in summary court this morning. She's facing 3 common assault charges, or is it 4? Oh, I think it's 3 common assault, and the other one is for assaulting a police officer. No, gosh, it's 6 charges. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Woo,
Getting worse.
trying to keep up here. It's several damage to property. I think there's 2 of those, and then the other 4. One is like assaulting a police officer, and then one is the other ones are common assault. Oh my gosh, it's a lot to keep up with.
Right. So all that's going. Well, are you going to be at the court? Are you?
Oh yes, we will be
Okay.
there, and we will be live streaming from the event. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll get all the
We
updates.
will. We'll definitely be updating everyone in terms of what's going on.
All right, cool. Well,
Awesome.
We'll see you tomorrow. Blake will be back,
Sounds good.
so hopefully you have a wonderful day. Sounds busy,
Thank you very much. You too.
and we'll see you tomorrow. All
All
right.
righty. Bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. Good morning. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Cómo estás? Let's get this train on the road. We are ready this morning. Hello, beautiful people.
Peppermint, sorrel, ginger, fever grass, or English. Get it ready. Your morning tea just got hotter.
Ooh, honey child.
On the cold, hard truth. Bobo 89.1 and Cayman's #1 talk show are bringing you morning talk like no one else. Monday Rewind, Impact Wednesdays, Caribbean Connections, and much more. Don't miss a beat with what's happening in the local community. Just keep sipping your tea.
What a mess.
Here's your host, live and direct from the Cayman Islands, Sandy Hill.
All right. Good morning, Cayman. Buenos dias. Wake up. Let's get it. We have a lot to cover today. OMG. And I am ready for court. Yes, honey child. What's up? Oh my God. I am just so ready this morning. All right. Well, here's the thing. I actually, whew, what can I say except I'm ready. It's going to be an interesting day. It's actually a really busy day as Mondays go. Now we're supposed to have our launch of Cayman Voices today, but the videographer is still rendering the video as we speak. So in the event that that isn't ready, we're probably going to have a little bit of a short show because I got to get to court in time. I don't know what courtroom they're going to be holding this in. I'm hoping they've thought about this, and it's actually going to be this being, in case you're just tuning in, the trial for Miss Cayman. Hopefully it will be one of the larger courtrooms, but normally those are reserved for grand court matters. So space is normally really, really limited, which means that I got to get there early, honey child. Yeah. So having said that, I'm going to do my best to get there on, in decent time. And yes. Maybe a little stop at the coffee shop beforehand. Make sure I'm nice and refreshed and ready to go. So how was your weekend? Fingers crossed, though, because I think you guys are going to absolutely love the Cayman Voices segment. If we don't do it today, then we'll probably do it on Wednesday's show. But yes, I'm hoping that it'll be ready today because, oh my gosh, it's such a lovely interview. We're kicking it off this month. Real big shout out to our corporate sponsors who are making this possible. The DART organization. You guys are going to love these interviews. I mean, if you love it even half as much as I love doing them, I think we're just in for a really special treat. So good morning. Everybody's doing okay? We got a lot to talk about. My goodness. Caymanians killing Caymanians. I guess that's not entirely new. But this one is kind of interesting because I understand that they're actually cousins. Oh, my Lord. What is wrong with our people? Good morning, Miss Vernita. How are you? Genevieve is here. Good morning. So good to see you. Miss Romelia joining us from Windsor Park. Wishing everyone a blessed and victorious day in the Lord today. Thank you so much. Marshall has got it locked, joining us from North Carolina, probably. KK says, Miss Sandy, you're looking good this morning, child. Date or court? You see Tiffany Case? Yes. Ooh, honey child. Yes, I'm ready. No, you know what happened is I actually had my hair done for the weekend. I'm going to tell you guys where I went this weekend. And so I kind of left it up in the updo. And so I still had curls to go for. So I literally just pulled it out and I'll let the curls fall where they may. I'm not actually dressing up for Tiffany, honey child. I don't need to look that good for her. She might fall in love with me and then want to beat me up afterwards. And we can't be having that now, can we? Good morning to Celine. Yes, we are COVID-free, although, still a little bit on the congested side, which is just regular sinuses. I'm still taking my DM sinus decongestant. And Sabrina says the radio sounds robotic. All right, let me get on top of Chucky. Radio sounds robotic. Okay, let me get on top of him. That's something on their end. I don't know exactly what causes it, but it's something on their end. Normally they have to restart something. So somebody says, remember to get your avocado smashed before court. Ooh, I'm hoping that I can make it in time. I kind of forgot that this week was actually, whatchamacallit, that this week was actually midterm break, because I could have actually gone to town and just been in town and did the entire show from town a little bit earlier, because I was up from like 5 o'clock this morning. I had to get up extra early. Gianna's having a little bit of a procedure today, so we had to get her up and out the door with Dad. So yeah, I was already up. So Sabrina, I'll get Chuck on that to sort that out. KK says, I wish you could have recorded inside the courtroom. Ooh, the day that becomes available on Cayman, y'all will get no work done. You'll all be at your respective workplaces, just tuned in and listening to the radio and TV stations. But yes, court TV. I can't wait for the day that it's available in the Cayman Islands, because trust me, I will make sure we got the live stream link. But yes, it's something that's done in other places in the world. Cayman is a little bit different. Good morning to Dre. How are you? Bob says everybody's cousins in West Bay. Well, you know what is so funny, Bob? When the person told me that this morning, I said the exact same thing. I was like, but who in West Bay in our family? Like, honestly, it's more like all of Cayman. Seriously, we are all one big family, Bob. Everybody's related when you check it down the line. Trust me, my 23andMe, thing has proven that. My test results have proven that more than anything else. I'm just like, what? I got family. I'm related to the Ebankses. Who knew? So this is why I always used to tell my dad, even when I was a little girl, I'm like, I don't think I should ever marry Caymanian, have kids with a Caymanian, because next thing you know, oh yeah, that's your cousin, and it's like, oops. We need to thin out the gene pool just a little bit. Trust me, Bob, I'm with you. Good morning to Ms. Beulah. Good morning to Ms. Barbara. Wishing everyone had a wonderful weekend. Yeah, cousins with cousins. All right, so let's break it down a little bit here, folks, in terms of what we're talking about. Of course, it's Monday, so you guys know what Monday means. Monday means what? What's our theme song for Monday?
Time for Monday Rewind. The Cold Hard Truth's Monday Rewind show recaps the weekend's news and events so you don't miss a beat.
Don't miss out.
All the weekend's source, news, gossip, and well, it wouldn't be a weekend recap show without traffic accidents too. Cayman Marl Road is Cayman's #1 news source and has the island's hottest morning talk show.
It's the hottest.
Make sure you don't miss a beat with Monday Rewind.
Rewind.
Tune in every Monday from 7:30 a.m. on both YouTube and Facebook.
It's Monday Rewind, honey child. So here we are. Happy Monday. I hate having to report bad news anytime, but weekends, oh Lord. So what do we know about the situation? Shortly after, I feel like it wasn't even 11 o'clock yet, but I went to bed early this weekend. I'm still tired. Like, I still have post-COVID tiredness. Y'all know about this whole long haul COVID. It might be a little bit of that. I don't know. But it was like around 11:56. I got this message that says, hey, I'm hearing they just cut Ian Duffel's throat down in Birch Tree Hill. Are you hearing anything? And I just happened to have been up a few minutes after that. And I said, oh, Lord, I was actually sleeping, but I woke up and then saw this message. I don't know who poor Ian is. really sad situation. But this young man, 51 years old, has lost his life in a spate of violence, which is so incredibly unfortunate. Um, just sad. What can I say? It appears to be, I mean, they have the person in custody from what all of our sources have said. Police actually haven't updated anything as yet. But it's the, you know, I don't know what's going on Birch Tree Hill. Y'all got to tell me what is it with that area? Because even before this happened, there was heavy police presence in the area. The helicopters actually up before 6 o'clock in the evening in the Birch Tree Hill area, and I had people messaging me saying, "Hey Sandy, do you know why the police helicopter's up?" The National Bird is what I'm now calling it. And I was like, "Ooh, honey child, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, West Bay. Maybe the police were just keeping an eye on things, trying to prevent something like this from popping off." And the same night that they have presence all over the place, it's like this incident happens. So the word on the street is Ian, had some sort of an addiction problem, crack, cocaine. I mean, who knows what people are addicted to these days. Normally it's the cocaine. And that he was fighting with, we had eyewitnesses calling us afterwards, giving us a lowdown. He was having some kind of dispute or argument with this guy. And the guy just cut his throat and then stabbed him in the side as well. My God, what a horrible way to go. I mean, anyway, I suppose prematurely is horrible to go, but geez, peace. Our people are just, I don't even know what to say. Violent. We have to admit that we've got that in us. And so it is most unfortunate, really, that this gentleman, 51 years old, he should have probably been getting ready to have, not exactly retirement age yet, but kind of slowing down in life a little bit. And look at this. Now his family is going to have to bury him. Jeez, peace. Strong Will, good morning. Says you look very nice today. You hot over the COVID? Just in time for court. Oh, I got over it. Yes, God is good. Yes, honey child, he sure is. Most blessed indeed. Yeah. The Lord was like, Sandy, you got to be there to bring the court trial to the people now. Celine, yes, I am really not complaining. Like I said, just remnants of like sinus stuff, but you know what? We're not gonna worry about that, honey child. I saw Miss Larita yesterday, and she said to me, she was saying, oh, it was a little bit rainy yesterday. She had some shoulder pain, arthritis. You know how it is when you get of a particular age. And she was actually really busy yesterday. Nobody was cooking in Cayman yesterday. We all went to Miss Larita's, got her little chicken and turtle, and she had turtle, conch, baked chicken, barbecue chicken, Cayman style beef, and what else? There was something else on the menu. But anyway, honey child, I got my turtle, which I haven't eaten yet. I'm going to have some maybe later on this evening. I'll have some turtle. But everybody was there. I ran into so many people grabbing their Sunday lunch. That's a thing to go to Miss Elrita's. If you're a Georgetowner, you know what I'm talking about, honey child. And so she was saying to me, she's got a little bit of arthritis pain when it rains. She can feel that a little bit. And she was talking about some young person in her family who was like, oh, like they find it so hard to get up and work. And she's like, listen to me. I've been working from I was 9 years old. And, yes, there are days that you don't feel 100% or you don't feel good or you always got aches and pains. But she said, unless you want to be out there doing something illegal, which none of us should be wanting, you get up and you go to work and you do what you got to do. And, we have a philosophy that hard work never really killing the body, really. So get to it. So I had a little chuckle when she was saying that to me yesterday. And then I was being reminded that she's on my list of people that I need to interview for my Cayman Voices segment. So good morning to Scott. Happy Monday. KK says the white lady serious. Yes. I mean, drug addictions, we were talking a little bit about this on Friday. Oh my God. The best thing is never to get hooked on anything. Because listen, it has got to be, I can only imagine how difficult it is for even the individuals who are addicts. We think that they have all this willpower where they can just jump up and quit cold turkey, and you can do it, and it cannot be that easy, folks. I'm sure there's struggles. When I was watching this poor guy in court the other day crying in front of the magistrate as he was sending him to jail again, and the magistrate is saying, son, get your life together, man. You have so much potential. And, every time this cocaine gets a hold of you, it's just ruining your life. And his poor mom is sitting there in the gallery, always there for him, waving at the judge. The magistrates get to know, especially the ones that deal specifically with drug court. They get to know a lot of these people and their stories, and they remember them from one hearing to the next. And she was there just to support her son. Here, this man is a big 40-something-year-old man, got adult children of his own, and he's going to jail again. And there's his poor little mama. Yep. Raising her hand when the judge says, anybody here for him today? And she's like, oh, and the judge, oh, yes, I remember you, Miss So-and-so. You're always here for your son. My goodness. What a waste of a good life. What could have been a good life. And when he's not on cocaine, he seems to have the potential. Young people, stay away from drugs. But, I was very disappointed on Friday. I don't know how many of y'all caught that. When I asked the National Drug Council, who was here, if you didn't hear that interview, please go back and watch it. And they were here saying, and I pointed out how it's been, 14 years since they have had a 2008 National Anti-Drug Strategic Meeting. And I said, tell me this is a mistake, because, on the website, I see this and I'm just like, what? 14 years? Have you forgotten to update the website? Because that happens a lot. And they said, no, there's not been a National Anti-Drug Strategic Plan and Meeting in 14 years. And then we have a 2013 policy. This is a comprehensive approach to drug control for the Cayman Islands, 2013 to 2022. How many years is that, folks? That's another 9 years that this policy expired. So it was done in 2009. So I guess it was done before that, but this was a 2009 to 2013 policy, and it expired 9 years ago. So, when y'all sit back and say, oh, Sandy advocates for a new government, it's stuff like this why I have to advocate for a new government. I mean, really? In 14 years and 9 years, you've not had a new anti-drug policy. Nothing has, like, what? You've not even had an anti-strategic meeting, like drug, what? And y'all think these people have been doing such a great service to the people of this country? Our poor young people, my God, honestly, it's no wonder they're struggling, to be quite frank and honest. And I'm going to talk about the situation at Truth for Youth School this morning as well, because I'm very disappointed that a lot of you parents are advocating violence against your own children. Something is wrong with us, people. Y'all need to wake up now. Smell the Milo, smell something, because we are completely missing the boat. Miss Andrea, good morning. Miss Andrea says, I knew him despite him being an addict. He always greeted me with respect. So sorry that he couldn't have gotten help full time. Came out and gets a rehab facility. Well, don't we have a rehab facility? There is one in East End called Caribbean Haven. What more do y'all want? We have a rehab facility. But, there's more than one thing that's happening here, folks. Number one, a lot of the family members are complacent or enablers when it comes to drug addiction, as well as many other things that people are suffering with. So we have Caribbean Haven Residential Center. This is a residential treatment program, and people can actually stay there. Now, I understand that sometimes people just check themselves out. I'm like, huh? How does that work exactly? I don't know, but it is a residential treatment center. I don't think that lack of resources is necessarily everything here. I think a lot of it is what is happening at the community level. We've just accepted. How many of y'all don't know somebody who is, alcoholic, a crackhead, a drug head, whatever, and we walk around thinking that that's cool or it's okay. Some of us will take photos with these people and make them Instagram famous. There was someone who used to do that with, what's the one guy? I haven't seen him in a little bit. He had cleaned up for a minute and then, of course, fell right back in. What's the one guy? He always walks around drunk. You see him a lot, like on West Bay Road and hanging out at the gas stations begging for food or money or whatever. I can't remember what his name is, honey child, but he's been drunk as long as I've moved back to Cayman, which that was in the 1996. And he got cleaned up a couple years ago. Kirky, thank you, KK. Yeah, poor Kirky. When he was cleaned up, he looked like a totally different person. I was just like, oh my God, imagine what his life could have been like. Wow. But y'all will, Kirky, come take a picture of me making t-shirts off of Kirky and all kind of foolishness. I felt like that was really sending the wrong message. Thank you, Miss Bonnie. She says the rehab centers and breakers, not East End. Well, Eastern District. Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Bonnie. So, we got to do better. I feel like we enable a lot of these people, and it is very, very sad. Even people mental health. I still cannot get over the fact that we have allowed that poor gentleman, what's his name again, to come back from Jamaica where he was getting good care, was being taken care of. And now he is dumpster diving through the trash can to get lunch and food and whatever, because some aunt or some family member decided to bring him back to Cayman so that she can take advantage of NAU. NAU should not give her a single dime towards his care. She should be in jail is where she should be, because that's just how egregious this type of behavior is. The man was finally getting the help that he needed, looked the best that he has ever looked. And now people sending me pictures of him like, oh, look at poor, can't remember his name either, child. Forgive me with names. Look at poor so-and-so here going through the garbage to try and get food. I'm like, why did his family bring him back? Now, we don't have a full-time medical health facility yet. It's not completed. So let him stay there getting this wonderful care that he was getting until, we have that facility. And more importantly, there's good infrastructure in place to give him the support that he needs. Because having these facilities is one thing. But again, if you have family members who are enablers, who are unable to assist in the recovery or support of these individuals, sometimes the best thing to do is to send them overseas for the care that they need. Boy, I tell you. Miss Andrea says, oh yes, I read that one. Thank you, Miss Andrea. You're making my mouth water mentioning the menu, says Marshall. It was the alcohol that caused this, says Thomas. Good morning, Thomas. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what people's drug of choice is, but they're all really, really bad. Whether it's alcohol, fentanyl, cocaine, prescription pills, these things can and do ruin your lives. And that's the bottom line, really. Good morning to Miss Alice. Now, you guys saw the drug bust last week, the bale of drugs, certain packages, several packages are picked up off of Cayman Brac. Well, thank God that's, I guess, one less package of drugs that will be on the streets of the Cayman Islands, and in particular, Cayman Brac. Why can't we clean up Cayman Brac? Because everybody in the Brac seems to know who the dealers are. Everybody knows who the users are. But more importantly, the dealers are walking around with complete, immunity. They do whatever they want. And it's just like, how is this possible? Every Brac, I can tell you the two brothers and who they are and what they're doing and how they're using road works workers to distribute the drugs on Cayman Brac. I mean, imagine government actually is a drug pusher, maybe unbeknownst to them. But my God, if everybody in the Brac knows it, if I know it, why is this a surprise to anyone? Y'all need to clean up the place. But Cayman Brac is a whole other mess because, when you talk about enablers and really, really low expectations, poor Brackers have gotten little to nothing from their MPs for the last 25 years. And they seem to be okay with that. They seem to be happy with that. They pave one or two little roads right before election. They build a facility out, what part of the Brac that is, that big facility that nobody even knows what it's for. I went there a couple of years ago and people were like, Sandy, this thing stays here, air conditioned 24/7. You go in, the temperature's down to 20. Oh, come see what the CUC bill is. Well, not CUC, but Brac Light and Power is for this facility. It's never used for anything. We don't even know what the purpose of this hall. It's a multi-purpose hall, but it's never been used. We don't even know what it is, but it looks pretty. I'm like, oh geez, we're just all about optics sometimes, And what meaningful programs and initiatives, have been launched in the BRAC? The BRAC needs a residential facility because they got a lot of crackheads right there in Cayman BRAC. In fact, my understanding is people prefer to go to Cayman BRAC to get their drugs because it's less oversight. The police got like one little police officer who don't seem to know what's going on himself, no clue, and just running circles around everything. And so the criminals have the run of the place. The drug dealers walk around freely, right? People overdosing, and they're taking them from their house and dropping them on the side of the street in Cayman BRAC. So the authorities, 911, can go pick them up, and then it's their problem. And they have to air ambulance them to Grand Cayman for treatment. Yep, that's exactly what that just happened a couple of weeks ago in the BRAC. These are the realities that we're dealing with. And I'm just like, where are your MPs? I don't hear a single one of them. One he's asleep at the wheel. And the next one, she goes to church 24/7. But what? What else? You know what I'm saying? I don't know, boy. Y'all need to start expecting and demanding better. I just feel really, really sorry for the people of Cayman BRAC. Cayman BRAC should be like a paradise. Oh my God. So few people, you shouldn't have any crime there. What are you going to do in the BRAC except relax, work a little bit, support your family? Why is it that drug is running rampant in the streets of Cayman BRAC? And you've got crackheads who, in order to support their habit, and trust me, you know what is so crazy? Drug dealers in the BRAC are videotaping their clients. There was one with poor Quincy. I mean, I think I can say this freely because everybody knows Quincy is an addict. This is nothing that we're hiding. He himself has admitted it. Taking video of Quincy and circulating it around with him shooting up, literally. And then there's another one of him stumbling in the road just the other day, all over himself. Such wasted talent once again. Quincy is a young man that has a lot of raw talent. But you can have all the talent in the world, and it will be destroyed by drugs, right? Doesn't matter. You could be the smartest person in the world, have the biggest brain in the world. It don't matter when you allow drugs to take control of your life. So sad. But like I said, the drug dealers, they don't care. They're out there living their best lives, my dear, doing what they got to do, servicing their clients and making money off of people who are suffering from serious addiction. Thomas says the big problem now in Cayman and the US is the opiates. Well, I don't know that the opiates has gotten a hold of here quite as much, but it's coming. It's only a matter of time, right? And of course, one of the things that we have also seen as it comes to drug addiction in this country is they're starting to mix certain things. So remember the guy who died? I think he was American or something the other day in the BRAC. Y'all go look that up. Drugs. And they're mixing things together now, which can be a very deadly combination. So, you start to mix heroin and cocaine or cocaine and fentanyl, whatever, your body not going to be surviving that. So we'll soon have some more dead people. Ask Juliana. Like I said, she's living in church, but she can't talk about how her own niece overdosed just the other day. Y'all want little secrets out of the BRAC? I mean, everybody there knows it, so it's not really a secret. And a school teacher at that. Did y'all hear me? Her own niece, but I've never heard this woman talk about the scourge of drugs on the Cayman BRAC community and how it's destroying the BRAC. Right? While y'all praising the Lord would be very ashamed because you do understand you have to be able to help your people. Miss Bonnie said Kirky used to be a cop. Listen, like I said, without drugs, these people have a lot of potential. They're smart individuals. They could be contributing in so many ways to this community, and they're not. Anyway, my condolences go out to the family of Mr. Ian. I don't know him, but a loss of a life, folks, is a loss of a life. Here he is. Really, really unfortunate situation. Now, the person that they have in custody, I've been told, is like his third or fourth cousin or something. They're distant cousins. I'm sure that probably hardly matters because, quite frankly, people in this country are killing each other all the time, and they don't seem to appreciate or understand that not only are you killing a Caymanian, but in this instance, you're killing your own family members, for God's sake. But like I said, it doesn't seem to matter to them. Good morning, caller. Happy Monday.
Good morning, ma'am.
How are you?
I am well, Professor. And I heard that you kind of got clearance from your little situation. So, and you're still on it.
Oh, yes, honey
everything good.
child. Yes,
So
ma'am.
you're up on your box this morning. Every striking word you're saying is so true. How you're pelting us with small breadfruit and splattering all over the place is so true. But what happened to us now? I want you to go a little further this morning for me. What happened to us now when we get that word? Where you decriminalize the unjust situation going on? How is that going along the lines that you beating up your gums off? And now I punishes with it, and I don't smoke cigarette, I don't drink alcohol. But I'm old enough. I don't have the money to afford it, but I'm old enough. But I made up my mind long time ago I wasn't going to do that, and I ain't did yet. So I old. So I'm saying we don't need the ganja. We don't need another death. We don't need all that. And if you're killing them now and the ganja is illegal, imagine when the gateway drug becomes legal. Decriminalize. If you decriminalize something that is a criminal offense, and you decriminalize it, legalize it. I don't care how you jump. And I'm talking to the people that bought it. Hear how you jump with it, and it is still a situation where, and it is open, and the gateway drug is open to any and everybody. My family members tell me, I don't know what you're going to do when the people can pass here with a big old trumpet in them at 6 o'clock in the morning going to work. I guess I'm making fun. I don't know what you're going to do. And you see a mixture of drugs. Allegedly, quite a few people in the community affected long time ago is affected from that same combination thing, and look like they slowed it down. But what the information I get from you this morning is that they're speeding it up again. Well, mothers and fathers, I don't know how people love their children. I really don't know. Because that, I don't care what the professionals tell me, that right there, and I'm not saying that the professionals told me any different, but that right there is you're looking for problems in the small community. You're really looking for problems. So I don't know what the mothers and fathers and the people who make the laws and the people who take care of these kinds of things, the people we are talking about, I don't know what they're going to do. But if they're really mixing drugs that people can now be talking about it freely because it's a fact, and they need to be doing something, as we would say in Georgia, I'm a youth go Georgetown, accepting decriminalizing herb, and I better find something else to do. Anyway, thank you very much. So
yes, my dear, morning. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean that is an interesting and valid comment. Is we even have some MPs who are of the opinion that we should be decriminalizing marijuana, and I mean I guess the question is, what is the long-term end goal? What's the point of decriminalizing it? Is it then to eventually get to the point where you're going to be legalizing it? These are the questions that the Caymanian public need to be asking. And I hear your arguments. I know Jonathan's probably here ready to jump on the marijuana bandwagon. But listen, I am personally not a proponent of any substance. Let me be very, very clear here. Any substance, and I don't care if it's alcohol. I don't care if it is marijuana, if it's smoking a cigarette. Even food addictions are very, very serious. And I think that what we should be doing is we should be giving people the help that they need for these types of addictions instead of trying to encourage it by saying, oh, well, y'all are fat and obese, but it's okay. Keep eating. Somebody, I got to tell you a joke. This was it made me chuckle a little bit. Someone said, apparently the Progressives is having some sort of health day or something that's coming up. And then they're doing it as like a fundraiser event. So they have all of these, what do you call it now? They have all these videos, my apologies. I'm actually downloading a video. My brain just crossed over there. So they have this menu of food. And so somebody pointed out to me what seems a little bit obvious. They're like, hold on a second. Why is the Progressives having a health day, right? Where they're encouraging you to come out and get all your vitals checked. And then they're actually selling food at the health day event that would give you a coronary heart attack. And I just had to laugh. I said, well, that's Caymanians for you. We are so duplicitous. It's not even funny. I'm like, yes. I mean, if you want to get the people to come out, you got to be willing to feed them. So here's what's on the menu. It's a Cayman Seafood Fest, food sale, and free health fair. But look at what's on the menu. All the stuff that we love to eat: shrimp, crab, turtle, conch, escovitch fish, rice and beans, green banana, fried plantain, baked mac and cheese, cornbread, and seafood soup. All this stuff that's going to put the pounds right back on those hips, honey child, and that belly. And then they're supposed to be doing health screenings, BMI measurements, and nutritional counseling. So someone said to me, did they not get the memo that maybe they should be serving some salads or something? I'm like, listen, I can't even with y'all. I'm not going to take you. Oh, Lord Jesus. But these are the things that legitimately make me laugh. So Zambula is saying, so who's his cousin? Oh, let me try and see who killed him now. Hold on. Oh, Lord. Y'all know I can't even. I am legitimately the worst person with names and connections and this sort of thing. But hold on. We got a name, allegedly, of who might have done it. I said, my God, to kill somebody. Okay, so this is what my sources said Saturday morning. Alvin Brown is who cut his throat. Cokehead, both of them. This is what people messaged me and said. Alvin has a twin brother. They're both crazy ass people. His twin brother's name is Calvin. So Alvin and Calvin. So unique. So anyway, that's allegedly who did it and who is probably in police custody. So I think somebody might have sent me a picture of him too. But honey child, what a mess. I'm just like, wow. So sad. But here's a video that someone took from the scene of the incident at Saturday morning. Hopefully our radio listeners can hear it.
Okay, so here we go from the incident last night in West Tree Hill. This is actually my residence. Yeah.
So I have a question here. Obviously you see the numbers down on the ground there from the police scene. Wasn't this a restricted area?
Not me involved in this.
Obviously not. Where were the police?
That way,
6, 7, 8.
In your house.
9. I guess
Stay
that's
in
every
your
place
yard,
that they found blood splatter, child. But the police never had this cordoned off or what? This seems to still be an active police scene. What a mess. Anyway, there's a police officer walking right there. There's the van, the crimes of scene van. What a mess. So sad.
What happened? Oh, God. I tell you. That's why I tell you now. I behave myself. Thank God. Charlotte coming in.
Yeah, other people ask the same question. You're allowed to walk on a crime scene like that? Well, I guess the police don't have it taped off. I mean, what a mess. Yeah. I don't know. And ironically, this is a scene. I understand this is 2 houses down from where a young man was killed. I forget what his name is now, but he was some Rasta guy or something, was killed a number of years ago. He was shot like 2 houses next door. I mean, what's going on down Birch Tree Hill? What is it about this area that makes this area so hot for violence? I mean, it's just a small little area, you know what I'm saying? A community in West Bay, but what's going on exactly? I don't know. Oh, Ruby said it, seen it at the beginning. They went under the tape. Well, geez, shouldn't the police be there? Oh, so Alvin, they are sicko ever since. Like I said, I don't know who Alvin is. Somebody said, wasn't Alvin stabbed about a year ago in front of Papa Top? Bob, you seem to know more about Alvin than me, honey chill. But yeah, I mean, if you're living this kind of life, I guess there's violence all over the place. You know? My apologies. I see a few people said they were insulted when I call people crackhead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be insulting, but let's be honest. When we're talking about them colloquially, that's exactly what we normally call them, as crackheads. But let me be politically correct on the radio. Persons suffering from crack and cocaine addiction, amongst other things. Ms. Bonnie says allegedly cocaine is available in prison. Well, we saw prison officers smuggling in ganja. I'm sure if they can smuggle in ganja, they can probably smuggle in just about anything. Marshall says the BRAC is in poor condition because of the lack of representation from their MPs, and they seem to be okay with it, apparently. Because, I mean, granted, there's not a whole lot of options on the BRAC for, MPs. I mean, let's admit, we were all kind of like, in a way, we were secretly rooting for Elvis, for him to even give Juliana a little bit of a challenge. And there were times when Elvis would get up and he would speak sensibly. But you can't have an MP who themselves have addiction problems. I mean, we may have some, but it can't be quite so obvious, right? He obviously has a little bit of issue with marijuana usage, even after he's been given a suspended sentence and told to stop smoking, and whatever, he continues to do so. He obviously has a problem with alcohol. He's in court right now for what are some very serious charges. I think his trial might be coming up relatively soon as well. So despite us wanting something different, I have to admit that Elvis just wasn't it. He was entertaining to watch, believe me you. But could we really have put him as an MP in the Legislative Assembly and say to our young people, this is what you esteem to be in life. This is what you do with your life, and we will reward you by making you an MP? Lord Jesus. Wow. I was reworking my board last night, working on a few of my sounds. Don't forget, you can call in. Here's a little call-in jingle in case you missed it.
The Cold Hard Truth News Podcast. Cold Hard Truth News Podcast. Come make we talk on the live broadcast. It's a the Cayman #1 live talk show. Come make we talk where you go up on the news. Locally, worldwide, every avenue. Cold Hard Truth Podcast.
Call it 936.
Where you there? CMR on the road. Cayman Island #1 talk show. I saw we chop it, Cayman Mall Road. I saw we chop it, #1 podcast.
936-2626, folks. Your little brat reminds you that you can also, the court can send you to Caribbean Haven, but you can also self-refer and check yourself in if you need the help. And I think this is where we need to be encouraging family members to do so. Miss Darlene says sometimes those type of people, head got messed up by falling in love with the wrong woman, got used, and maybe they got what? She said maybe they got boom boom whipped or hooked. And that's why they're on crack or cocaine. Say what? No, let's just be really honest here, Miss Darlene. A lot of these people, and Sarah Sue just mentioned it, are dealing with traumatic childhood events, including everything from abuse to, and when I say abuse, I mean physical, psychological, mental, and even sexual abuse, things that they've never dealt with. They're coming from dysfunctional families that have had a history of multi-generational trauma and issues. That's more likely to be what it is than being used by some woman, honey child. Most of us don't tend to turn to hardcore drugs because we've had our heart broken. Now, if you're Tiffany Conley, you might beat somebody up if you have your heart broken, but still, she's not turning to crack and cocaine, that sort of stuff. So Miss Ann says, good morning. Yes, it's no secret what is going on in the BRAC. Sadly to say it's not going to be any better. The highlight is on the users. What about the dealers who are apparently untouchable? I'm a hurting mother, not by any means an enabler. I appreciate that, Miss Ann, Quincy's mom. And no, I mean, I have pointed out, I think very, very clear this morning that the dealers need to be dealt with because they are walking around, like I said, with a lot of impunity. Now, the thing about it, Miss Ann, is I have heard poor Quincy. I mean, I feel so, I hope that he can get the long-term help that he needs. But even in terms of Quincy, you've got to be willing to help yourself to some extent as well. So we can put blame all over the place, but people need to take responsibility. Okay. So I understand that he's monitoring social media and he's reporting on people who are calling out the drug dealers on the BRAC. He goes back to the drug dealers and tell them so that they can try and intimidate good citizens of this country so that he can get a free hit because he's reporting on people. And Quincy, the government has done its best to help Quincy. We have sent him to Jamaica, right? On multiple occasions now, go to a facility there, get cleaned up, because sometimes you have to admit it is very difficult when you're in a particular environment. Go to Jamaica, you're away from, and what was Quincy doing there? He was busy live streaming, trying to have a show, focus on all the wrong things and not on his own recovery. And then he got kicked out of the program because they found him, which somehow he managed to go to Jamaica and find crack and was using up in his room. And the facility was like, no. And they kicked him out of the program. Only so much the government can do. Only so much your family can do. As addicts, you have got to want the help. Even when you hit rock bottom, you've got to want the help as well. All right, let's talk about this situation, folks, in our schools. Last week, Friday, we put up a story. By the way, Sarah Sue says pedophilia is rampant in Cayman BRAC, but nobody wants to talk about it. Well, we keep talking about it because I keep hearing about it. There's 2 national pastimes. This is a bit of it's not funny, but it's a sad indictment in the BRAC. There are 2 national pastimes on the BRAC. Alcoholism and whatever other forms of drug addiction you may have, and molesting children. I have heard that about the BRAC from time. Yeah. And a lot of people know who the child molesters are. Some of them big time society people. And they have went from one generation to the next. And they are free to live their best lives, again, being up in church. Pastor so-and-so and brother so-and-so and deacon so-and-so and grandfather so-and-so molesting his own grandchildren. These are the cold, hard facts, folks. You don't have to like it, but it's a reality. And once again, we have MPs who have never spoken about the high instance of child molestation in Cayman BRAC. That has even at times impacted their own family members. We got to do better. We have to expect better. So speaking of doing better and expecting better, I'm sure that you all saw this story on Friday about what's the name of this? Truth for Youth. Yes. Now, this was a story. I don't know why it took Renee a minute. I think she forgot to do the story because we had sent it to her before that. But anyway, it turned out to be perfect timing because on Friday, the school had a meeting with the parents to confirm that they're actually not prepared to do much of anything. What am I talking about? Well, children having their mouths duct taped by teachers. Now, I was really, really surprised at some of the social media commentary where you guys were like, oh, but these children so bad. And oh my God, they need to be tied up and whipped and blah, blah, blah. I was like, what on earth? Are y'all kidding me? Okay. And we wonder why our children have such problems? First of all, it seems to me that I'm a bit perplexed as to why anybody would think that children are just inherently born evil. Oh, they're just so bad. When I saw your comments, oh, these children, they're not easy. Okay, if the children not easy, as y'all claim, who is to blame? These children don't just pop out and they're little devils on their own and little tyrants. Look at the parenting. So why y'all blaming the children as being bad seeds and they're the problem? What is going on with the parents? Now, I have to tell y'all the truth. No teacher is going to be duct taping anything in my child, much less their mouths, and forcing them to stand in a corner with their hands up. This is like the equivalent of some of the torture that they do during wartime, waterboarding people and all kind of stuff. That's like torturous behavior. Do you know how hard it is for a child to stand in a corner in certain positions, like with their arms up for half an hour, 45 minutes or an hour or whatever? That some of y'all try it. As big time adults, you couldn't even do that. And yet you're sitting here saying that these children deserve it because they are bad children. Y'all don't know what these teachers have to deal with. Now listen, I am the first to admit that teachers don't have an easy task of it, especially when you have, again, the product of bad homes. And if you got 20 kids and even 5 of those kids are problematic, you got your hands full. But this is not the way to do it. Duct taping children's mouths, forcing them to stand up in the corner with their hands up in the air and all kind of foolishness. This is not an effective way of disciplining people's children. This is part of the reason why our children are dysfunctional. All they know is abuse. Really? Somebody said, let's share some of the punishment that made us who we are today. I'll start. I had to kneel and dry rice. Now my rice and beans is the bomb. There's nothing funny about this. There is zero to laugh about when I hear that a teacher has duct taped a child's mouth. Now, I saw a few of you got offended when I said that we're importing rejects, right? First of all, keep it very, very clear what I said. I'm speaking specifically to this type of behavior and this type of individual. I didn't say everybody that comes here is a reject by all means. But why would you allow, right, to anybody to do and submit your child to this kind of punishment and think that this is not going to have some serious psychological impact? And you know, does it work? Y'all look at the prisons. Caymanians have been beating their children from day one, and still look at the prisons. Look at the court system. Look at the drug addictions. If you really think that, as some of you obviously believe, that the answer is okay, the answer to this, thank you, Tanya Mitchell, for being sensible. She says, when is it ever okay to duct tape an 8-year-old child's mouth shut? Traumatizing to all students in the class. Will the school be offering therapy to the students affected? She should have been dismissed immediately. This was physical and emotional abuse. But most of y'all talking foolishness about this is what these children deserve. An 8-year-old child deserves to be treated worse than a criminal who's sitting in Northwood now, who has been, convicted of all sorts of things. They're not even duct taping their mouths. Something is wrong with you all as a community and as parents when you accept this kind of nonsense. Same thing with the woman who, what was her name again? The school principal, talking about she's going to perform an exorcism on your children, forcing them to have conversations at 5 and 6 years old about sexuality. And the poor children is like, we don't even know what she's talking about. Do you like girls? Well, they're my friends. Yes, I like them. Oh, no, that's not what that means. Y'all a bunch of lesbians. I was like, what the hell? This reminds me. And when I first moved to the States and I was in the 4th grade, and one of the kids said to me, do you like crackers? And I was like, yes, honey child, I love crackers. I eat them with this and that. They were looking at me like, what? I didn't know crackers had an alternative meaning. I had no idea what that meant. So when you say to these little kids, do you like girls? Do you like boys? They're like, yes, those are my friends. I want to be able to hug my friend. What is wrong with that? And these sick adults are putting their sexual twists on things because they are obsessed with their own sexuality. Some of y'all just need to come out of the closet and stop living up in church and pretending to be something you're not. Where's my kaboom button? Kaboom! Y'all take that. Maybe you would stop obsessing about what innocent children are doing when, they put no meaning to it. Because you have your own issues. This is okay. Here, one person said, but people too soft nowadays. Really? Duct taping children's mouths? Thanks for Miss Debbie. She had a sensible comment this time. She says, I wonder how she would feel being duct taped. Holding the arms up for 10 minutes, not bad, but don't agree with duct taping a primary child because children will be children, albeit there's some that are going to be rude and disrespectful. I'm sure it is not too pleasant for these kids when the duct tape was removed. Surely she should have been able to control children at that age level better. So here you have, again, adults who don't have the ability to discipline children in any creative way. And I put that very loosely in brackets. And so they resort to physical violence, duct taping a child's mouth. Can I tell you, as a parent, I would have a problem. And that school, Truth for Youth, you'd be getting some truth. I don't know about the youth part, but you'd definitely be getting some truth, honey child. That would not happen. It wouldn't be my child. No, and no. I'm a sensible parent until you cross the line, you do something like this. Then that's when you're going to see some kind of crazy mama drama coming out. You know what I'm saying? What? You duct tape me? You did what? I would be like, hold on, sister. You did what to my child? The school wouldn't have to fire you. You'd be on that next plane to Jamaica, one-way trip. I would buy your damn ticket to hurry up and get you out of here. But the fact that the school is unable to terminate this person, I find to be particularly egregious. Now, y'all paying school tuition to send children to CCC, yes? I mean, Truth for Youth, my apologies. Oh, God, let's not get the schools mixed up. Truth for Youth. I don't know how much the tuition is, but you're paying too much already to get this kind of foolishness. A teacher who can't control 10-year-old children except to duct tape them, make them stand in the corner with their hands up in the air? No, honey chill. Something not right with this story. The school did not even report the incident to the MASH unit, which means that they have zero protocols in place on how to deal with allegations of abuse, because that is what this is. It was the parents who had to report it to MASH unit, and now they're like, oh, well, we have to sit back and see what happens. What the MASH unit does. Oh, she's apologized. Apologized? Oh, Jesus. No, TD, you would have to be on the next flight out of here, like I said. No, sir. Grade 4? Wow. You know, you see a lot of foolishness on Friday's show. We were talking about, not Friday, last week, Wednesday, about the importation of culture. This is a prime example of how y'all importing culture and don't even realize what foolishness you're doing. Now, listen to me. My Jamaican brothers and sisters, I want y'all to listen to me very, very carefully, because you know there's going to be one or two who can get all up in their feelings. The people who are willing to speak the truth and know the truth will understand exactly where I'm coming from. Jamaica has set a stellar example on how to raise and discipline children. Have they set a stellar example for us to follow on what is good protocols when it comes to disciplining children in schools? Are you kidding? Look at the incidents that they have of violence in schools, violence against teachers violating children sexually, physically, and otherwise. They're violating and abusing each other. Teenager just stabbed another teenager to death. I'm just saying, right? As these things go, maybe we're not always bringing in la creme de creme, like the best of the best, no matter where they come from. But this particular example, this woman is from some school in Jamaica. I would like to see exactly where she came from. What school, what was the track record of disciplinary actions and so on at this school. You are teaching children violence when you subject them to violence. It's as simple as that. And until we start to wake up and recognizing that disciplining children just because you had your behind whooped and beaten is not an effective means of control. It's not control. It is a short-term band-aid on a problem. Because children that you beat and you duct tape don't learn how to self-regulate. All they know is that, okay, an adult is going to come and force me to do this, but when they're not around, I'm going to do whatever the hell it is that I want to do. That's what you're actually teaching your children. You're not getting them to think at a different level. Like, if I'm disruptive in my classroom, this means X, Y, Z. And yes, a 10-year-old whose brain is nowhere near the capacity of a 40-year-old teacher, however old this woman isn't going to always understand the nuances of why they need to behave. But you put certain things in place. There's so many things that you can do in a classroom environment. For example, I'm not a teacher, but even to me, in my rudimentary understanding, know that peer pressure is one of the most effective things you can do. Can we get a hallelujah on that one? Peer pressure. If you have 90% of your kids behaving and you got that 10% or the 5% that's problematic, you know what you do? You make everybody suffer for the 5% and the 10%. And they're going to start putting pressure on each other. They're going to say, Sandra, you stop misbehaving because we can't go to recess because of you. We can't get treats. We can't do that. You know what I'm saying? they put pressure on each other to stay in line. Sujit says violence begets violence. Well said. I don't know how many times I have to say it, but you guys have got to get out of this mentality that you can subject children, babies even, to violence, and you think they're going to grow up as peace-loving individuals. It doesn't happen because nobody is showing them peace. She's not a Jamaican. Where's she from? We were told she was a Jamaican teacher. Hold on now. Because I can only go off of what the parents have said. And they're the ones telling me that she's a Jamaican teacher. So if she's not, let me try and find out exactly where she's from. Where is she from? Good morning, Miss Lisette. How are you? Miss Bonnie says it doesn't matter where she's from, but I mean, the point here, and I do want to know where she's from, because I want to make sure that I will stand to correct that information. We were told that she was from Jamaica. So where's she from? I just gave you an example of a Caymanian who was trying to perform an exorcism on your children. I will call anybody out, regardless of where they're from. We have our own people who are cracked in the head, who are crazy. But I also do not believe that we should be importing more of the craziness. This person says, teacher, no less, talk up the things, Sandra. Even in school, I'll talk to them about something innocent, and then they sexualize it. Children reflect the society that we live in. Give the children lines to write, minimum 100 lines. This parent says, big congratulations to the Clifton Hunter High School graduates. They all look sharp and well-dressed. Good morning. Clifton Hunter had 165 out of 175 graduates. Congrats to all of the John Gray graduates as well. Between the ages of 5 to 8, my boys did not play with girls or consider them their friends. My son once told me that boys play with boys and girls play with girls. I saw nothing wrong with that and understood his thinking. Then as they are teenagers now, and all of a sudden they have an interest in females. Children should be allowed to be children and embrace their innocence. God help me if someone duct taped my 8 or 9-year-old. I'd be going to court with Tiffany this week. Don't forget, she is said to have told the children, don't make the Jamaican come out in me. What did that mean? The same woman. Well, I mean, if she's not Jamaican, I don't know why she'd be saying that, but I don't know. This is a direct threat. She was gonna see the FOI Cayman come out in me. Oh, the fool, not FOI. She put FOI, and I'm like, FOI Cayman, fool Cayman. She was going to be taking a flight out of here on her own. Child, I would help her get on the plane. All right, so this is what the parent had to say. Morning. She's from Jamaica. So what y'all saying the woman not from Jamaica for? This is a parent. Well, she might be married to one, but she's from Jamaica is what this parent is saying. All right, I can only tell y'all the source of the information is coming from the parents themselves at that school, and I would assume that they would know. Is this her first year at the school? Oh, what a hot mess. Anyway, honey child. Yeah, it's crazy. So here's what someone says. They sent this. This is very good. Friendly reminder. Parents, if you let your child argue with you, they will argue with me. If you let your child speak to you in a disrespectful tone, they will take that tone with me. If you allow your child to break rules without consequences, they will not do what I say either. You see, you are your child's first and most important teacher. We're only built on the foundation that you've laid at home. And this is something that teachers have posted. So incredibly true. And this is my point again. I find it so interesting how y'all want to blame the children as though the children are raising themselves. Well, apparently some of them are, because y'all are such horrible parents. So let's just be very, very honest here, right? This person said this morning in relation to the West Bay incident, they said, it's Alvin, Calvin, Alex, and a sister. They live at number so-and-so. I think the number house is on Caribbean Lean. I don't know where Caribbean Lean is. They get drunk or high and they fight. One year, one of them knocked out the next one teeth with a hammer. Wow. And yet we wonder what's wrong with our children. Wow. Wow and wow. Knocking at each other teeth with hammers. But yet we expect our children to go to school and behave when they're growing up in these types of environments. Are y'all really for real? Huh? Sister Cara, she's the main teacher and she's from Jamaica. Well, Sister Cara, who's Sister Cara? Y'all gonna bring me her passport later on? Selvin, good morning, says, what are the disciplines left for corrections? Because we've taken away all the discipline that we met. I do not agree with the duct taping, but equally asking a soldier to fight our wars without the tools is what our teachers are asked to do. So while it is fair to criticize this particular incident, we should also explore ways to enhance the whole school experience for teachers and students. Well, you enhance it, Selvin, starting in the homes. As parents, stop weaponizing your children so that they're tyrants to begin with. And a lot of that is because they're growing up in violent situations. If I tell you that I have a 6-year-old who does not know what it is for anyone to raise their hand at her, and if you grab her too rough, she's like, you're hurting me. So when she is in a situation that she has to deal with and she's feeling stressed, guess what? She's not going to be hitting nobody and punching nobody because she's not growing up like a friggin' animal. You drag up your children like animals. What do you expect? Fighting and cussing and carrying on all the time. Andrea says, I don't care if violence beget violence. I teach my kids not to mess with people. And if a child bullies my child and nobody does anything about it, I'm telling them to defend themselves. That's a very different situation, right? I think all children should have to go to a karate class and know how to defend themselves, because bullies have always existed and they will always exist. And so the golden rule is this: you put your hands on me, I'm going to put both of mine on you. Simple as that. But that is a different situation. The children themselves going around being bullies and instigating and fighting and hitting teachers and everybody else around them. Sarah Sue says parents and teachers need to work together and understand that we're not the only influence in their lives. Majority of the influence comes from their friends and classmates. They spend 90% of their time around other students from different households. Not all kids behave in school as they do at home. Oh, I agree with you, Sarah Sue. And that's why, as parents, we need to be careful also who we are exposing our children to. Some of y'all let your children go to play dates and you don't even know who these fools are. I must let my child come in your house and I haven't even been in your house? Oh, honey child, not so fast. I'll be sitting right in the corner looking on, keeping an eye out, seeing what's going on, what conversations are being had. Because yes, Sarah Sue and other parents, they're little sponges and they will pick up influences from all over. But ultimately, as parents, we are the ones who are supposed to control it. I would tell y'all, no such thing as a sleepover. Don't even have that in your vocabulary. We don't believe in those. Don't throw your children to the wolves. Control the environment. You ever notice when your children at 5 and 6 and 7 start to do little stuff in school, the first thing they want to do is blame their peers. Oh, but mommy, so-and-so dared me to do it. That's an excuse I heard recently. And I said, I don't care. I'm not so-and-so's parent. She is entitled to do as she wishes, and she will deal with the consequences in life, now or later. You are my child. And I don't want you blaming anybody for your behavior. Because ultimately, you're the one who's responsible. People can influence you all you want, but at a young age, if you're not getting consistent messaging, that sometimes in life you have to go against the green, and that might not make you the popular kid in school. You might not be well liked. You might lose 1 or 2 best friends along the way. That's okay. These are the messages that our young children from day one need to be hearing and understanding. When you walk up to me blaming somebody else, that will not reduce your punishment. You are still going to be held accountable for what you did, right? What somebody else is, what they did is not my concern. Aliano says he's not a problem. He has no criminal record, no stabbing incident, theft, and so on. So thank you to my mama and daddy. Shannon, good morning. Shannon says, when I was about 10 years old, my Savannah school principal, a short, miserable man, took me into his office to slap me on my hands with his belt. I was accused by other students of telling them they could pick the ginnips off the tree. So he had to punish me. Imagine, I was alone with an older man in an office with no one else around. Well, Sandra, when Winston Rich, my dad, found out that his baby girl got slapped with a belt, he marched up to Savannah Primary School and told that short man principal, don't you ever, and he got cut off. I mean, listen, yes, there are certain things that are very egregious, but why were you the one, again, because you told them to do it, you're going to get punished when they were the ones doing it? Come on. You know, we have to admit that there has been something fundamentally wrong with even how we think about disciplining our children. And nobody ever wants to learn. Somebody sent me a TED Talk the other day, and they said, oh, I don't know if you're one of these parents that believe in beating your children, but after you listen to this TED Talk, you might have a change of heart. And I said, actually, I am the most open person when it comes to recognizing that I don't know everything. And I'm willing to learn from the experts. I had a joke this morning. I was scrolling on Facebook. Like I said, I got up extra early this morning. And I was scrolling on Facebook, and I'm going to post this up on CMR a little bit later on, because it says, imagine being a regular ass person and thinking you know more than a scientist about what the scientist studies. We're all experts. Morning talk, what you know. Jonathan says, if the teacher struck my child, I'd be enraged, but for putting tape in his mouth, I could live with that. Why would you be okay with that? As soon as I find out the reason why. And I would decide if it was justified. But to me, this sends a message to the other kids to not talk in class, called me old-fashioned. So the only way that you can send a message to children not to talk in class is by taping their mouths. That's so interesting. Let's talk about private versus some of these private schools versus what you get in public school. I'm a bit surprised, although, you know, I not all private schools are created equal either in terms of the caliber of what they can attract, right? I'm going to just put that out there, and you interpret that any way that you want. But I saw the story that went up about the new private school that is being built, Island Primary. Some of y'all got all up in arms about it. Oh, another private school for the elite, and this not going to be available for Caymanians and blah, blah, blah. Somebody made the point that Island Montessori, which some of the owners, not all of them, of Island Montessori are the ones who are building this Island Primary School, because there is a real need for additional schools, even at the rest of the primary going into high school level. Trust me, if you've ever been on a waiting list for schools, you will understand as a parent what I'm talking about. But y'all were up in your feelings about, oh, I'm not gonna be able to afford it. This is for white people. This is not for Caymanians, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh Lord, here we go again. On one comment, I had to write and say, well, I have a formula for being able to afford private school. Number one, I cut back on unnecessary things. So while you're out there spending, how much is a set of nails these days? I don't get them, so I don't know. $75, $80, right? Hair extensions that can run you into the hundreds of dollars for fake hair. Some of y'all got boob lifts, bonke injections, bonke pads, all kind of stuff you're spending money on. So I said, I will give up all of those things. Not that I do them anyway, but I'm saying, if I did, this is how you can afford to send your children to school if that is your choice. And you don't have to send your children to private school to necessarily get a good education either. Okay? I will give up those things. I will give up smoking, drinking. Some of y'all go out every weekend to happy hour, spend $300, $400. You add that and you multiply that, and there's your school fee right there that y'all complain that you can't afford. I'm just saying. And if push comes to shove, is Cece around this morning? If push comes to shove, I'm not above twerking on a pole. That's legal, isn't it? I think so. Don't they have some place on West Bay Road where women can twerk on a pole? Now that is a joke, but it's legal. And you do what you have to make sure that your children have every opportunity in life. You make the sacrifices for your children. That's how it's supposed to be. Oh, and here's the other thing. I only have the one child that I can afford. I ain't got 5 children. Because no, I would never be able to afford 5 children in private school. You can barely afford to feed 5 children. So why are y'all out there complaining in the streets about what you can't afford? Oh, here comes another private school I can't afford. You can't afford it because you've been making the wrong decisions in life. Shall we just be honest? You can't afford it because at 16, 17, and 18, instead of you trying to say, okay, wow, things are getting kind of rough in this life. You know what I'm saying? For me to bring home more than minimum wage, I need to have a skill set that is more than minimum wage. Y'all want to be making more than minimum wage, but have nothing to offer employers. It's so funny when we talk about increasing the minimum wage. I don't see anybody talking about increasing your ability to earn more than minimum wage. Your goal in life should never be to be in the minimum wage category. That should be the first thing. If you're only making minimum wage, something is wrong. You need to aim for a little bit higher than that. Minimum wage is for high school leavers. During your school break, when you're bagging groceries, you're making minimum wage plus tips. Elevate yourselves. I don't want to hear no complaints about a private institution offering a service, education, a business that is in demand and needed. Like I said, if you've been on a waiting list all 3-4 years and the school not even call you yet, you would understand the struggles as parents. If you don't want to send your children to private school, that's your business. You know why my daughter's in private school? Because this is what it is. It has nothing to do with education. It has to do with the behavioral issues, right? And I can hold a private institution, maybe Truth for Youth is an exception, but I can hold a private institution a lot more accountable when I am paying you money. to ensure that my child is in a safe environment that is conducive to them learning. In government schools, caller, good morning, Denny. What accountability do you have in a government school? You can't even get a report after they've launched an investigation. We can never hear what has happened as a result of these so-called investigations. No one is ever held accountable.
Well, the truth of the matter is, is that institutions are only held accountable if people hold them accountable. I find that a lot of adults are just simply irresponsible. They don't care. They don't participate. They don't say anything. They just, that's terrible. But what I want to say
Let me ask you a question, Danny. If a teacher duct tape your child's mouth, would you be okay with that?
First time. No. First time the child misbehaves, yes, I would have a problem with that. Second time, what I'm trying to say is that if the child becomes outrageously, behavior becomes outrageous in the classroom and nothing seems to work, I wouldn't rule it out, but it certainly wouldn't be the first measure. In other words, I would prefer to put duct tape on my child's mouth than send them to prison by ignoring their behavior, by not doing what ought to be done at home, et cetera, et cetera.
But you do understand that part of the problem, Denny, is that people start really, really late when it comes to trying to discipline children. They don't have a clue. They don't have a formula. Yes. As I was thinking about this whole duct taping thing, right? My daughter went to Montessori Cayman, and they have, and she's actually done it to me before. Sometimes I'm talking a little bit too much, and she wants me to stop talking. She does this little thing called silent fox, where they put their hands shaped like a little fox, and all their teachers have to do, this is what conditioning is all about. All their teachers have to do is raise their hand with a symbol, and all of the kids in the class know that this means silent fox, and you stop talking, and the entire room, shh, everybody stops talking. Nobody not getting their mouths duct taped at those schools. So what is the difference?
The difference is in the home.
Exactly.
The difference is in the home.
And
there's one thing that I want to say is that, I mean, I think that this Island High School is done by the same people that it has Island Montessori.
It's some of the same owners.
Okay. Well, my both my children went to that's Island Montessori, and I was really happy with what the education they got, the discipline that was there. So I mean, I would be happy if it is the same group of people doing the high school. But there's a greater point that I'd like to make here about this. The planning regulations require, I think you need to have, I think it's a school for every 400 or 450 houses or something like that. I don't think that's being, that law is being followed. And so the point I'm making is that I believe that our politicians don't really take education as seriously as they ought to. And it comes by providing the proper facilities in not just in terms of safety, but in quantity for people. You shouldn't have a situation where there's not enough room, or there's a waiting list and you can't get in this year, and all that kind of foolishness. I don't think that our education is far too important for those types of things to be happening. But you said something earlier about Elvis in the Barack, about his behavior and charges and so forth, and saying that him being elected shouldn't be. I mean, if he were to get elected, that's not the message that you'd want to send to young people. And I agree with that you don't want to reward unlawful behavior. And that is precisely why on Wednesday I took the view that something needed to be done about the unlawful behavior or decision of the speaker, deputy speaker of the House. I must tell you that I was very disappointed. I didn't expect the premier to say what he said, and I was very disappointed with his answer, because he's sending the wrong message to youngsters in this country when he said that. That was wrong. But we have to understand that children are a product of their environment. And some of the stories that I have heard about some of the experiences that children have in homes, it is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, they see everything, XXX included. And I don't know why people think that somehow is going to end well. I don't know what else to say. I'm just speechless when I think about it.
Danny, the bottom line is this, and I again go back to the homes, right? And I know this because of personal experience. I have been in a chaotic home with zero discipline, zero rules. It was a fend for all. You did what you had to do. And at the age of, 6 or 7, I was already physically assaulted and have the scar on my leg from a pair of scissors that I will carry for the rest of my life. I'm not talking about something that I do not know. I know what I'm talking about from personal experience, right? Yeah. The difference with me is I have seen both worlds. Most children don't get to go from that to one that is overly restrictive, disciplined to the max. You are on. Listen, Aunt Lottie did not joke. It was a totally, not even a 180. It was a 360. It was night and day. So I understand how the two can be juxtaposed. And I also understand the impact that those two environments can have on children and the outcome for your children.
And the wider society. Because they end up in prison. And they kill people and all sorts of things.
And as parents, we want to blame everybody else for failing our children when we oftentimes are their number one failure. You can be your child's number one champion in life, and you should be more than anybody else. Or you're going to be that person that sets the wrong example for them, that hinder them every step of the way. So even when they have good teachers that are trying to influence them in a positive way, it's not going to happen because of the chaos that you're allowing in your households. And that is everything from, like you said, what the children are permitted to watch, what they're exposed to, the family dynamics, immediate family, extended family, your husband out there, prison officer, having all these outside children, that creates chaos for your son and daughters. And I mean, listen, the list is pretty long.
And it creates chaos for all of their classmates, because the misbehavior is going to disrupt the education of the other children.
Absolutely.
So it has extreme impact.
And when a teacher, and let me say this, when a teacher comes to you, we just last week, as a matter of fact, our first parent teacher conference. And sometimes I share these personal stories with you all to let you know I'm now a parent. I understand the struggles. When a teacher says to me, Gianna did this in school, academically, no problems with her. Behavior wise, okay, we need to address a few things. If she's doing this, which a lot of these things are normal for 5 and 6 year old to do, but what you do not do as a parent is ignore it. No problem ever gets fixed because you ignore it. You have to address it. You have to talk to children about their behavior. Why are you doing this? Work. Exactly. And it's a lot of consistency over and over and over again. Do you know how many times I have had to say to that child, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, from day one before she could even speak. So when she finally started school, they're like, oh, she's the most well-mannered child in her school. I wasn't surprised because I must have said it a billion times. And I have to continue saying it because there are times she will slip up and say yes. And I said, no, yes, ma'am. And it's every single time. This is the level of consistency that as parents, we have got to have with our children. This is a job.
Well,
having children
my wife
is a
teacher,
job.
Right?
Yes.
And she used to say to me all the time that children are tyrants that have to be civilized. And that's just a way of saying that it's lots of hard work and it's something you have to do on a daily basis. And it's your responsibility. So don't look for someone else to raise your children. It is your responsibility.
This person has a question for you, Denny. What percentage of good parenting has been eroded through the influence of the internet and social media? How can anything influence your children if you don't allow it to?
Yeah.
I mean, up to a certain age. I mean, as they get older, then obviously you have less control. You have to admit that.
Well, here's the thing, right? What you want to do, you want to have conversation with your kids so that they can understand the difference between right and wrong, but how they ought to behave.
Yes.
And then, and because what your goal is.
Sometimes the solution isn't always to never allow your children to run up against a roadblock, because that's not life.
Well,
temptation is going to be there.
Here's how I look at it, right? Can you take away all of that stuff as a parent? Yes, you can, but that doesn't actually aid in helping you reach your goal as a parent. And your goal as a parent is to prepare that child to be autonomous and responsible in society. And so what you want to do is educate the child sufficiently so that the child understand why it's in his or her best interest to do the right things and why this benefits society as a whole. Because the truth of the matter is you can take the internet from them, but they'll just find another way.
Exactly.
And so you want to teach them to not do certain things and understand why they shouldn't do certain things so that they will want to do them themselves. Do the right thing themselves is really what you want to be focusing on.
And eventually children will get to the point where, they understand the reasons behind certain things that they're choosing to do and not do. And that's important.
Yes.
Thank you, Denny.
That's the whole goal.
All right, my dear. All right. Very good. So let's just read a few comments here. Magdalene, good morning. She says, yes, they're out there flossing. Preach that they find money for what they want. Yes, honey child. It's obvious. And I see it all the time. I see people living way beyond their means and then complaining that they can't afford certain things. I'm just like, well, when you can't afford something, you have two options. You either increase your income, and I'm all about that life. You guys saw what I posted the other day? Anybody who is a business owner has to understand in this day and age, you have more than one stream of income. But that doesn't apply just to business owners. Even if you are working for somebody else, maybe it's time you start your side hustle, something you've always wanted to do for yourself to bring in extra streams of revenue. You should not have all of your eggs in a singular basket, folks. That doesn't make any sense. You do a little bit of this, a little bit of that to pay the bills. Once it's legal, I ain't got no problems with it. Somebody said to me, my joke about twerking. This person said, "Twerk it, cousin." This other person who used to go to a certain establishment in West Bay Road said, "No, that place doesn't exist in West Bay Road anymore. You attacked it so much he decided to shut it down." Me? Listen, I'm not going. All joking aside, I'm not going to a strip club. To me, that's a waste of money for the people who are spending the money. Obviously, the girls are making it, so good on the one end for them if you can put $100 in their pocket after 5 minutes of dancing in a pole. But that's some poor fool father now who could be using that money to support his children. I'm just saying. So a couple of times I have made comments about that establishment, and this person saying that because of me they shut down. No, they didn't shut down because of me. They shut down because it's a poor business model in Cayman, to be quite frank. We don't have the population to sustain those types of things. And the novelty of having a strip club or pole dancing club or whatever you want to call it to make it legal in this jurisdiction wears off really, really quickly, especially when that $100 could get you so much farther with the same woman outside of business hours. Let's just be very, very honest here. And everybody knows that. You can probably have a full-time girlfriend at that rate. She could be your side chick, number 3. Renville, good morning. Renville says beating doesn't work because when I was going to school, I used to get beat for going home late because boys will be boys. But guess what I used to do? The same way when the beating stopped and the punishment started, I changed because knowing you can't, what you love hurts. I think I'm missing a little bit on that last part there, Renville, but I get your point. And, even when we think about how to deal with certain things with children are very adaptive. They're smart little things, right? And they will learn quickly how to adjust for the time being so that they don't get an ass whooping. But it's not long-term changes. You're not teaching your child to think on their own. Like, why I don't want to engage in this kind of behavior. Why? Mark, good morning. He says, I have a question. What became of the parents who had the party and allowed their kids to get drunk? Were they held accountable? Just asking. No. Held accountable by whom? They were held accountable by CMR, right? This would be Kathy Williams and her family, and they got all upset. And you know what they did? I think Mark might already know the story. They went ahead and had my husband fired from his job. That's the accountability that they're used to. Because there are certain circles that people run in that they believe, right? That you expose them for what they are, they're going to make you pay one way or the other. They weren't concerned about how my mortgage was going to get paid or if my child was going to be able to afford to go to school. But praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Didn't skip a single meal. He didn't work for an entire year and we didn't skip a single meal. Isn't God good? Yeah. And you know what? Put him in a better situation, working with a better company in a supervisory position, making more money. Because, my husband's a very loyal person, child. He would have still been there slaving for these people who at times could barely afford to pay staff. Talking about, will you guys be willing to take voluntary time off because right now the business isn't doing well? He's no longer in that situation. So despite it all, Kathy and the husband named Neil Williams, thank you. You end up doing him a favor in the end. But that was the consequence, my dear Mark. Right? Because people think that because they have money, the rules don't apply to them. Well, that's going to segue nicely into the next story that I have for y'all this morning. Armie Hammer. Yes, there are people who are out there who believe because they have a certain name or they come from a certain family that the rules do not apply to them. Good morning, Gabby. But let me tell you something. One thing I believe in is the equalizer. The rules apply to us all. That's why when I go hard at the Speaker of the House for his disgusting and incorrigible behavior, take no offense to it. I go hard at Tiffany Conley. Take no offense to it. To me, it doesn't matter who these people are. It's about accountability. So we reported last week that Armie Hammer was fined for working when apparently he has no legal right to work in the Cayman Islands. Wow. Y'all like, what? What did Sandy just say? So, well, here's the thing. Apparently his parents have status because they were given that by, I understand, the Bush administration back in that 2003 status grants when everybody, the dog, the cat, and the hamster, the gerbil, all got status in Cayman, whether they earned it or not. And he, the son now, Armie Hammer, does not have any rights to work here in the Cayman Islands. So a lot of y'all were misguided by this because you're like, oh, but he grew up here and this, that. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. But this is a country where even being born here doesn't give you any rights. So he does not have the right to work. He comes in on a visitor's visa. He can stay up to whatever time immigration permits him to stay, and then he's out and gone again. Well, it's interesting that there was this rumor floating around about him working. So the first rumor that he was working as a, what was the first rumor? Bar, whatever. That wasn't true. He was actually selling timeshares for the Moritz. Oh, WORC got a hold of him working. And both him and his employer, I use that term very, very loosely, were fined administratively for him working. Now, y'all would not believe, right? All of a sudden, all these fake Armie Hammer evidence accounts were set up. All these idiots, I don't know who they are. I guess his BFFs, his friends, whatever, messaging me after the post went up into the weekend about what is my evidence and how do I know this and this and that. And I don't know what I'm talking about. And if it's true, then why isn't it up on your website? And I was like, listen to me very clearly. This is not something I would speculate about because you know you'd get a lawsuit up your behind. I spoke what I know and I have no fear of contradiction. And they're so stupid. And yes, I'm going to call them that because that's what they are. Oh, well, it was in court. So how can you? I'm like, hello. The post said he was administratively fined. So a lot of immigration breaches never go to court because if you agree that you breached the immigration law and you just pay the fine, that's the end of it. That's why it's called an administrative fine. And you're able to do that. And immigration, I'm sure, saves a lot of time instead of taking people to court. So he and his employer just agreed to pay the administrative fine. That's why it was not in court. Now, you remember his ex-wife or strange wife or whatever she is, her matter went to court because they didn't agree to the administrative fine. I'm sure they offered it to them as well, but they wanted to feign innocence. Oh, no, not us. And then when the court find you're behind guilty, you still end up paying a fine and potentially worse. Because now the court's like, well, you had the opportunity to settle this administratively and you wouldn't do it. So we're going to charge you a little bit extra for wasting the court's time. Yeah. So it doesn't make a difference how much money you have. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Right? I don't care if Armie Hammer is a celebrity. If he comes to the Cayman Islands and he breaches our immigration laws and he works without the requisite work permit in place, that is against the law. So whoever you fool fake accounts are messaging me about Armie Hammer and you have time to want to sit down and have a 5-hour conversation. One was called Armie Hammer Evidence. They actually went as far as setting up an account. I was like, y'all really have time for this? Ask me about who is my source. I was like, you must be stupider than I thought. Who is my source? Listen, honey child. CMR operates and lives and dies by our sources. We don't reveal no sources or nothing. I would go sit in Fairbanks first before I compromise a source. What are you talking about? I told y'all about the one time when a lawyer, I was in the stand with this case, and where did you get that information? What's your source? I said, honey child, please. You would expect me to answer such a question? The response is none of your business. That's who my source is. Have you heard of that person? That none of your business person? No, sir. Then they're like, well, will the Cayman Islands government make a statement? Well, that's the Cayman Islands government. Ask them. Ask them for a statement. I ain't got nothing to do with that. In my opinion, every single person who's administratively fine, that should not be a top secret. That should be something that should be published, actually, if you ask me. Just like the companies, when they weren't paying their pension and insurance, that should be a matter of public knowledge. Publish it, make it available. If the government wants to do it, that's their business. Hear what a person said. Also, Hammer lived there as a child for 5 years. I'm fairly certain he has some degree of citizenship and or residency. Now, this is when people really, their level of ignorance is shocking. You live in a country for 5 years? Honey child, I lived in the United States of America for over 10 years and I didn't have anything. Y'all are so ignorant because you live in these little protective bubbles of your own imagination. Being here as a child for 5 years don't mean jack in the Cayman Islands. Who cares? There are people who are born here and live here their entire lives. And then at the age of 18, they discover they have no right to abode. They have no legal status and they got to go. And they don't have anywhere else to go to. So because Armie Hammer, he was here for 5 years, I'm certain he has some degree of citizenship or a residency, really. You, my apologies. You don't even get that after 5 years of living in the US. Really? Are you serious? Then I go on. Anyway, he's not even based in the Cayman Islands and hasn't been since 2021. So the timeshare concierge story was weak at best. But if you can provide an actual source, by all means, you know what I wanted to say to them? I didn't, because, you're trying to be a professional. I said, call the Cayman Islands government and ask them. Call Moritz and ask them, and call Armie Hammer and ask him. See if he'll tell you the truth. Not my job to provide you with a source, but y'all know that I wanted to drop a couple words on these idiots. Come now, honey child. Get with the program. Get with the program. I don't have to provide you with a source. And you don't have to believe the story. Keep scrolling. And they keep messaging, oh, well, maybe it's the ex-wife that told you this. I don't even know who the hell this man ex-wife is. Why on earth would she be messaging me? This is not the kind of thing that I would take as some random online source telling me this, and I don't have a way to verify what I know. That's not how this works, honey child. Get with the program. No. But they have time. Get Armie Hammer some help. While you out here messaging me all this foolishness, what you should be doing is getting the man some help, because clearly the man has some issues that require a professional. Okay? All the foolishness that he's been accused of and into, that's where your focus should be. Don't be messaging me. One of them had the audacity. Hear what she's saying. Something came up and I made reference to having a law degree. She's like, oh, if you had a law degree, you wouldn't be running a blog. I said, oh my God, y'all are so ignorant. Your level of ignorance is amazing. I said, not only do I have a law degree, but I actually have 3 degrees plus certifications. And I was like, really? Harvey, what's his name? Levine, whatever the heck his name is, who owns TMZ, happens to also be a lawyer. There are people who have degrees out the wazoo and they choose to do something not even related to that degree. I'm a business owner. And yes, I just happen to have a law degree. And I have a bachelor's degree. And I have a master's degree. And I have my post-qualification, whatever the heck they call the one that you do here at the law school for the law degree. So what? I was like, really? Have you heard of Mr. Google? I said, you see, this is a thing. I don't have to lie about what my credentials are. Simply Google it. It's easy enough to find out. But you see, this is what people do. When they're trying to defend wrongdoing, even for this so-called actor Armie Hammer, right? They want to be trying to come into my little world and be trying to attack me. This ain't got nothing to do with me. He's the one who's working illegally in the Cayman Islands, not me. He's the one who's working without the requisite work permit, not I. Okay? Get yourselves together. Brother Tommy, good morning. Renville says young parents nowadays feel like boxing down a child or telling them a lot of bad words is going to change them, but that only makes it worse because all that does is to let the child feel like that's the right way to deal with things. And we as parents are sending the wrong message. Amen. I couldn't agree with you more. And a lot of it does have to do with a degree of like, you're too young to know what else to do maybe. And that's why I'm an advocate. Listen, if y'all listen to me, none of you would have children in your 20s. Go out there and live your life. See the world, travel, expose yourself to different people, different cultures, right? Be a person that your child can actually learn something from that is positive instead of just violence and negativity. Shirley, good morning, says Caymanians with actual family connections can't get their citizenship or benefits in 5 years. You see, Shirley, listen, I had to block these fools, because I was just wasting too much time back and forth with them. I'm like, the level of ignorance is truly shocking and surprising. But it's just because they're trying to defend foolishness. Damien says that privilege status is kicking in. Yes, it's always there for certain people, my love. That's why I don't pay him no mind. I'm like, you're not nobody to me more than anybody else out there. Like, seriously. Jonathan says, but I mean, like, it was Armie Hammer. If I was a timeshare company, I might have tried a little thing with him, because he might have been that silver-tongued devil that would have been good for business. But I would have gotten the permit for him and suggest to go vegan. Yes, just do it the right way. Oh, honey child. Moya says, wait. Is Miss Cayman in court today? Yes. Which means that we are going to have end the show early. I was hoping that Cayman Voices would have been ready to go, but it's not. So what that means, honey child, is we are going to have to end the show a little bit early, do without, and what can I say, except today is going to be a good day. I'm hoping for justice to be served, right? Regardless of whatever the situation is, my ultimate hope is just for justice for the victims. And we're going to hear their stories firsthand. So I'm going to be leaving here now in order to be able to bring you guys the full details of what the victim said in court. Make sure you all tune in tomorrow night. Don't miss it. We'll probably do a little bit of a live stream later on social media, but tomorrow I'll recap everything that happens in court today. That's it. The victims deserve justice. Right? It is what it is. Hello, Miss Jill. How are you? All right. So we're going to do that this morning. I was just trying to find the news link. I don't know what's going on. I keep somehow losing this link. I know Kevin sent it to me last week, but I just keep losing it. So I need to try and find it back. Anyway, next time I'll I don't know where I put it actually. Anyway, I'll have it ready for next time, Kevin. And courtroom 4. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, thank you, Kevin. He's listening to the program. He's such a sweetheart. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to play the news for you guys. I'm going to get ready to head out. I will be, like I said, this morning at court, bringing you guys all the latest. I want to be there, make sure I get good position so I can hear what's going on. Chuck, I'm going to play the news first. You guys stay tuned for the news. And then we will see you guys tomorrow. So be safe, be good. Appreciate you all tuned in this morning and have an absolutely wonderful start to your week.
Hello, I'm Kevin Watler, and this is your CMR Daily Buzz. Police are investigating a West Bay stabbing incident that left 51-year-old Ian Duffel dead shortly before 11 Friday night. Sources indicate that he was stabbed multiple times in the side and had a critical wound to his neck at a residence off Birch Tree Hill Road and Captain Joe and Osbert Road. Several critical matters of national importance concerning crime, irregular migration, policing, and border control were tabled at the most recent National Security Council meeting on Tuesday. Representatives from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, Cayman Islands Coast Guard, Customs and Border Control, and the Port Authority presented to the Council. Council members include Governor Martin Roper, Premier Wayne Panton, Deputy Governor Franz Manderson, MP Sabrina Turner, MP Andre Ebanks, Attorney General Samuel Bulgen, Opposition Leader Roy McTaggart, Police Commissioner Derek Byrne, and Civil Society Representatives Ian Peredu and Christopher Phillips. OFREG has concluded its investigations into the fuel quality at Barcom Esso gas station. Independent tests found no evidence of contamination of both gasoline and diesel. OFREG launched an investigation after a social media post alleged a fuel quality issue at the Barcom Esso gas station. The process of getting financial assistance from the government is expected to improve significantly with the passing of the Financial Assistance Bill 2022. The new bill clearly outlines and defines, for the first time in the legislation, who is eligible for government's financial assistance, namely Caymanians, spouses of a Caymanian, or guardians of a Caymanian dependent. All of them must be residents on island during the time of the application and at least 8 of the 12 months preceding the application. In a move to enhance the delivery of specialist healthcare services to patients, Health City Cayman Islands announced a new strategic partnership with ENT and Cayman Limited. ENT and Cayman is located in Pasadora Place in Georgetown and offers ear, nose, and throat medical services. Enrollment is now open for Grand Cayman's newest primary school, Island Primary, which is scheduled to be opened in September 2023. Island Primary offers 350 new school spaces for children aged 4 to 11 in a spacious new campus located off Linford Pearson Highway in Georgetown. Island Primary will offer high-quality education guided by the British curriculum for students in reception through Year 6. The Cayman Islands Health Services Authority will be carrying out a full-scale emergency exercise with the Cayman Islands Airports Authority on Monday. Though much of this exercise will take place at the Owen Roberts International Airport, it may lead to increased foot and vehicular traffic at the Cayman Islands Hospital while its emergency response is being tested. Now for your CMR weather update, it's brought to you by WG Charters. Sunrise at 6:20. Lots of sunshine is expected, but isolated thunderstorms are also possible when the temperature is at 87 degrees Fahrenheit and the humidity at 71% like the forecast calls for. It will feel around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour and the sun sets at 6. At nighttime, the temperature falls to the upper 70s. Looking forward, a typical summer pattern of hot days, warm nights with scattered showers is expected. CMR weather updates are brought to you by WG Charters. They offer private boat trips for a great price, and we encourage you to support them. Now for some regional and international news. Fake maps of the Guyana-Venezuela border posted on social media has caused an uproar among Guyanese nationals who condemned the actions of pro-Venezuelan pages that continue to spread false information. Foreign Secretary Robert Possard said he has written to the chief executive officers of Facebook and Twitter asking that false maps of Guyana posted be removed from the social media platforms. The United Nations is warning that hunger in one of Haiti's biggest slums is at catastrophic levels as gang violence and economic crisis push the country to a breaking point. Across Haiti, almost 5 million are struggling with malnutrition. The world's space tourist wants to go back, only this time he signed up for a spin around the moon aboard Elon Musk's Starship. For 82-year-old Dennis Tito, it's a chance to relive the joy of his trip to the International Space Station now that he's retired with time on his hands. He isn't interested in hopping on a 10-minute flight to the edge of space or repeating what he did 21 years ago. That's it for now on the Daily Buzz. Thank you for joining me. Please stay safe and God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.